But in the meantime, we have Mark Dalton in the studio, Terry Volkswagen Subaru. Now, you were telling us about a recent excursion in Washington, D.C., and it was kind of you versus the car for just a minute there. What happened?
Well, of course, you take someone from Lynchburg and grew up in an area similar to this, in the style of driving that I'm used to, you give plenty of room to the vehicle in front of you. But when you get up in D.C., of course, you gotta tighten that gap up just a little bit. And so I was in 4-lane traffic in a Subaru Outback, and suddenly the cars in front of me, everybody just locked at brakes down. So I'm going from 60, 65, whatever it was, to probably 20 miles an hour in a very short span of distance. And of course, the first thing I do is I'm always looking in my rearview mirror to see that everybody behind me is doing the same thing I'm doing, and I'm letting the car close the gap in front of me, probably just a little more than the car wanted to do. And the safety system on that car, Subaru system, is called EyeSight, and it said, "Hey, you're not slowing down fast enough," and so it automatically just applied the brakes in a very abrupt manner, which was a fantastic thing because obviously it was going to kick in and not let me hit the vehicle in front of it. But my old school style of driving, I felt like I had control, but certainly this was a situation where many drivers, it would have saved them from hitting the vehicle in front of them. It was cool to see it function. It scares you a little bit when it takes place, but it certainly works and works quickly.
As you said, it was the car doing what it was supposed to do.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It that particular situation, I could see what was happening, but in many cases, when we're not paying attention, that system would have kicked in and certainly prevented an accident. So,
and is that system it's just automatic on the car?
Yeah. It senses the speed of the whatever is in front of you. If it's a fixed object, obviously it recognizes that it's not moving, and it decides how abruptly it needs to stop based on your speed. But if the vehicle in front of you is moving, it does that calculation obviously as well, and decides how hard it needs to press on the brakes, or engage the brakes. So it'll startle you, but certainly the purpose is to save a rear end collision, and it certainly would have in that case if I hadn't been paying attention, for sure. It was cool.
So how close will it let you get to the car in front of you?
Oh, that was a good question. I think
you were trying to test it and try to inch up when you're in traffic on people and stuff.
I think I may have told this story before, but when that system first came out, my son had just recently started working at the dealership, and everybody had a lot of confidence in his driving, obviously. And one of our salespeople decided he was going to incorporate Landon to do a demo on that autonomous braking system. So he would get Landon to drive the car, and the customer in the passenger seat in the parking lot, and my salesperson would stand in the parking lot and let Landon run right up to him, and the car would automatically lock the brakes down. And I got word of this after a few times of them doing this demonstration, and I immediately put a stop to that because I said, look, I don't need someone getting run over in the parking lot. It worked flawlessly, but
just in case.
Let's see what Landon will do.
Yeah. So we put a stop to that, but it works really, really well. It'll stand the car on its nose.
All right, cool. Now, let's get to the main order of business here today.
Yeah.
You have an announcement for us here, and let's break out the drum roll for this.
Awesome. Yeah, so this may have leaked out a little bit by now through social media, but we're really excited. We're building a new Volkswagen dealership here in Lynchburg, and for those listeners that have been to our lot in the last several years know that we are in need of space really, really bad. There are no parking spots. I've got cars parked down the street at the clearance center. I got new cars parked down there. It's just, it's very tight. And the last day or so, I've been pushing our lot with the snowplow and getting around.
That again today.
Yeah, I drove it today. Yeah, but getting around on that lot with a snowplow is very stressful, very challenging, and I can only imagine from a consumer standpoint when they pull in on our lot trying to find somewhere to park or trying to get to the service department. So we're really excited about this. The location is just right around the corner from Enterprise Drive on 221. The address will be 19327 Forest Road. For those listeners that are familiar with Light Chiropractic, we're going to be right behind them on Forest Road, right before you go over the bridge. And the access will actually be off of Homestead Drive in behind there. At first I was concerned about that, but when you see the traffic on 221 now, having an entrance in the rear of the property off of Homestead is going to be a really good thing because there's going to be stoplights that you can come out. And getting in and out of a business on 221 now is obviously challenging because of the traffic count. So we're really excited about this and having that access from the rear. But we've got a little over 7 acres there. We're going to be building this Volkswagen store on half of that property, and then that leaves the other half for future expansion, which who knows what the future holds for that. But our business is continuing to grow, and we're very thankful for that, very blessed that we've accomplished that growth within this community, and this store is really going to help. I think customers, not only just parking, but some of the other benefits. For years, I've always said, if a customer calls in for a service appointment, I want to get that car in within 24, 48 hours at the most. And, we are pushing, 4 or 5 days right now. And even though that may not seem too long compared to many dealerships, it's longer than I like. And I want that car in quickly. If it's just routine maintenance, maybe not time sensitive, but if there is an issue, customer doesn't want to be riding around with that issue. So I want to get it in, get it repaired. So this we'll be adding 10 new service bays in this dealership. So that'll give us the opportunity to move our certified Volkswagen technicians from our existing store up there, which will then open up additional service bays at our Subaru store. So whether it's Volkswagen, whether it's Subaru, both customers are going to benefit immensely from this expansion. So.
Well, I mean, as you say, I mean, you could not be any more chock full of cars where you are now by any stretch of the imagination. I do have one quick question now.
Yeah.
For the technicians, are they pretty much either Volkswagen or Subaru?
We've got some that are trained and certified in both, and they're extremely good. We try to focus on one or the other because the certifications, the training is very complex, and so most of our technicians focus on one or the other. They're certainly all capable of working on either, but we do try to keep them focused on one or the other, so they get the best. Customers will get the best experience and the most qualified technician by doing it that way.
Now, let me ask you something that's been in the news, that there had not been as many cars committed to rental fleets coming out of the pandemic, or also for there not been as many leases coming out. Leases are not generally, I guess, as profitable as a sale, and so that number had gone down. And those are where you get a lot of used cars. Are you having any trouble with used cars at all? So you've got almost 300 looking at your website.
Yeah, we're good point, Brian. We right now we're right around that 300 number. If you recall, at one point we were up to about 400. So yeah, we're down a bit. But yes, finding used cars are challenging. I'll give you an example. One auction that I go to in North Carolina, that auction will on a Wednesday will typically house about 1,000 cars. That sounds like a bunch of cars, but in pre-COVID times, that auction would run about 1,600 cars. So it's certainly affected the availability and the supply. So new cars inventory now is currently we've got the largest Volkswagen and largest Subaru selection that we've ever had. Now, one thing Subaru is changing, they're swapping plants. Basically, the Subaru Outback is built in Lafayette, Indiana, and the Subaru Forester, those are our two number one sellers. The Forester is built in Japan. They are swapping plants, I think in August, I believe it is, and the Forester is now going to be built in Lafayette, and the Outback is going to be built in Japan going forward. That's going to set us back a little bit towards the latter part of this year with inventory availability. Right now we're sitting on probably a 60-day supply, but by the end of the year they say that we'll be back to about a 20-day supply. So, certainly
buy now.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm not saying rush out and make a decision today as much as we'd love that, but sometime in the near future, if you're thinking about a new Subaru, the selection's going to be better this first half of the year than it will be the second half for sure.
And well, and on the used car thing, I guess if you want the silver lining, if you're looking, for a trade-in or anything like that, you're bound to get a premium price for it.
For sure, yeah. Trade-in values are still just doing fantastic. There's an excellent demand, obviously, because of that supply issue. There's an excellent demand for used cars, and which simply rolls down to the trade-in value.
Now, let's talk more about the new store that you're opening up. When do you begin on that? Do you have any, I know it's very early, do you have any kind of a timeline for expectation of it opening or anything like that?
Yeah, so we recently started clearing that property. Mr. Terry did something really, really good. He donated, there was an old house on the property, and that house was certainly not repairable in any form or fashion, but he donated that to the fire department, and they used that for training. Recently, they had a control burn, and
cool.
They invited neighboring fire departments to come, and so that obviously was a really good thing. So they recently took that down, and currently we're waiting on some building permit issues with Bedford County. Anyone that is listening out there that can help us push that along in a timely fashion, it would be appreciated. It's going through the normal paces, but we're hoping to break ground and start moving some dirt here. Maybe, I don't know, I'm making this up, maybe in the next 30 days or so. So hopefully that'll take place. And it was our plan all along to hopefully be in by the end of the year. That may get pushed into the first part of 26, but it's still our goal to be in by the end of 25.
Well, that's a pretty good schedule. If you haven't even gotten started yet, if you're in there by the end of the year, that's I don't think that's anything to complain about too much. That's a pretty good speed.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're hoping that it comes sooner than later, but again, any help from Bedford County would certainly be appreciated.
All right, Mary, get on the phone. Call all your contacts after we get off the air here. All right, the website is terryautogroup.com. Check out all of their new and used cars there. And congratulations on
Thank
the new Volkswagen store opening up.
And what will it be called?
It'll still be Terry Volkswagen. Yeah. And then the Subaru store will be a standalone, where we are currently with Volkswagen and Subaru, will be a standalone Subaru store. So there will be a little bit of remodeling done there, but to make that a standalone Subaru store, make it look Subaru, and there's a lot of really cool design elements in this new VW store that, of course, VW puts some strict rules on what you have to have, and we're really excited about it. It's going to look really good.
Cool. All right, Mark Dalton, Terry Volkswagen Subaru. Thank you very much.
Talk
again soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.